right?
I was thrilled, but at the same time, I was kind of confused. Am I too damn old to take that role? I don't know. So I actually asked my kids, do you think your father should do Star Wars? I mean, do you like Ip Man better or Star Wars better? And they said, Star Wars, of course. So that changed my mind. You know, that's pretty much it. Rogue One.
There is more than one sort of prison, Captain. I sense that you carry yours wherever you go.
One of the creative conversation before I agreed to do it, I said, you know, the role was a little bit too cliche and how he carried himself, because in the beginning the character was a little bit more serious. But then I said, you know, you have enough of these kind of Asian martial art master, right? That's fine. You know, if you want me to be that Asian master, you want me to swing that stick a little bit, that's perfectly fine. But shouldn't he have a sense of humor, you know? And he liked the idea. And so we're kind of adding lines and making this character a little bit more funny. Then I just kind of suggested, wouldn't be even better if he can't see, where he can feel the force instead of not really attached to it, but then somehow he have a grasp of that universe.
I'm one with the force and the force is with me. I'm one with the force and the force is with me.
Well, in all my films and all the characters that I've played in my entire career, I always emphasized on the realism of the character. No matter what genre I do, I always emphasize on interpreting this character. He has to be grounded, or else you'll be off the wall and no one understands where you're coming from. So that's how I approach the whole character, as not just the action side. So maybe that worked. Maybe people really came to liking this character so much. Once Upon a Time in China, Part 2. As a professional artist, you gotta do your homework. If you're Northern or Southern, the accents, the way you carry yourself, the way you look, your gesture, and all the etiquette is very important if you really want to play the character properly, accurately. Once Upon a Time in China, for example, that was during the Qing Dynasty. As an actor who's, I guess, specialized in action movies, then you have to kind of connect the two. Playing that character, what type of style during that time? How are you going to fight? How do you interpret that? That also takes a lot of not only research, but also a lot of skill. Getting into character, not only as an actor, it's more of a self-tune in mentally or physically, but also the environment helps you into that character and that world. So when you are dressed in that wardrobes in that period, and you walk into the set, and you automatically put you in that environment, it helps you to get into the setting. I worked with Jet 3 times in my entire career. I remember I was in LA casting for Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. I didn't get that role, but I got a call from the producer and director, and Jet Li himself said, hey, you want to come back to Hong Kong and do this? So I went back, and we were both very young. I think that we had that little ego going on, you know, on the set. So the choreographer was Yuen Ping. Now, Yuen Ping was the person who discovered me 40 years ago. Very veteran action director, choreographer. You know, he did Kill Bills and Matrix and Crouching Tiger, and did all that action. Well, I want to make the long story short. The way we work in Hong Kong for many years is that we change the choreography as we go along. So we both are very experienced, obviously martial art actor and well known. We walked on the set and we looked at the choreography. And we started changing bits and pieces in here, and it's kind of like happily sparring and following the structure of the choreography, but then we went off and freestyle, basically. It's like rapping contest, you know what I'm saying? It's like both of us just kind of went on, and we were going faster and faster and faster where the camera couldn't catch us. We were going at it, and the director was like looking at the monitor and played back and said, wow, this is great, you know? Just keep it rolling, keep it rolling. But yeah, we had a really interesting time because a lot of those action choreography were improvised on the set. That's how we shot films back in the days. Now it's, you know, a little bit more civilized we come up with a plan, follow that plan, and we do this and do that. But back in the days, there was Wild Wild West, the way we make action movies. We walk on the set and say, oh, this is the building. Let's jump down from this building. Let's crash this place, oh, let's not shoot it this way. I remember there were many, many movies where we didn't have a script. We came in and I was looking at the director and then we asked, what are the lines? He said, oh, I haven't figured out the lines yet. Let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 6, really. And then we dub it later. The most significant experience working on Once Upon a Time was that I had an injury, almost blinded me. So what happened was there was a shot where Jet Li was wired up and we both had these pole. These are bamboo pole about this thick and they're quite heavy. Now, if they hit you in the head, they'll knock you out. There was a move where he spun around 360 degrees. He swings at me, and I block it. After about 30 takes, he missed. Instead of coming across, and I'm supposed to block it like this, and he comes across horizontally. So he whacked me right on my eyebrow, right? I got knocked back about 8 feet. 5 seconds later, I said, wait, drop my hands, and blood was spilling. I kid you not. It was spilling like shower spray. It was like, it was like this, like in the movie, like Kill Bill. So I went to the ambulance, about 6 stitches. The day after, he called me. He said, are you okay? Can you come in for a close-up on the right side? I said, close up, you can see my stitches. No, I'm gonna shoot you sideways so you can't see the close-ups. So what happened was, the day after, I had patches on, right? And he shot my close-up on the other side where you can't see the patches. That's how wild it was. The Hitman series.
我要挑戰10個。你識咗未？冇窒人。我要打10個。彼は住人とやりたいそうです。
Before Hitman, I was already a very successful action director and won quite a few awards. In fact, pretty much every movies that I was doing was nominated and then ended up winning the award. So I was quite in demand in the market as an action director. But like you said, what's the next level? How am I going to elevate myself? Oh, then I have to really have even better performance as an actor. Because at the end of the day, it's the acting. It's the drama, right? The story, right? And as a result, it was a very good decision. And, I gave all the credit to Mr. Sammo Hung for the first Hitman 1 and 2. And then Hitman 3, 4, I call him Sifu, the one that discovered me, Yuen Ping. He was responsible for part 3 and 4. When I found out I was going to make a movie with Mike Tyson, I was ecstatic. I was always been a fan of Mike Tyson. Aside from Bruce Lee, Mike Tyson was my idol. I was looking at Mike Tyson, wow, imitate him. In fact, how he moves, I said, whoa, can I use some of that Mike Tyson moves in my movies? So when I realized, oh, he's gonna be in Hitman 3, so I was both excited, at the same time, a little bit nervous. I was like, what if he accidentally knocked me out? Knocking me out is fine, but I gotta finish the movie, right? It was kind of that kind of excitement and that nervousness working with him because I was such a fan and he's in front of me and he's coming at me with his famous left hook. And I was like, oh, Mike Tyson's coming with a left hook. And I told Yuen Ping, I said, I'm not gonna be exactly like how we shoot the traditional way of Kung Fu movies where we always dodge at a very split second. I'm gonna move when I feel dangerous, whether it is, I'm not gonna wait until his fist is here, I'm gonna move. There was a shot where he came in with a left hook and it was supposed to hit a big heavy bag. So, all right, ready, close up, bum, the camera rolling. And I felt that punch was coming and I felt his forearm brush my hair like, phew. I said, ooh. But it was great fun working with Mike and it was totally chill and respectful. I had more of a great time working in that film, talking to him than that scene itself. Like we'd be between shots and I would ask him questions. I'm a fan, you gotta remember. So it was a very memorable experience working with Mike Tyson.
How did you break his finger?
It was an accident. He was coming at me with flurry of punches, right? And the choreography was I was supposed to block all his punches with Wing Chun techniques. Now, as the Wing Chun techniques, you use your elbow. Sometimes the elbow goes. So I go at it, maybe I have a little power behind it, and I guess accidentally hit one of his fingers, right? I didn't even know about it. He didn't mention anything. And then the next day he came in and he got something wrapped around his fingers. And we were jokingly, Donnie broke my pinkies or whatever. It was an accident, Everybody in the world, some way or the other, is at least inspired by Bruce Lee, not solely on his physical prowess, but his philosophy and how he saw things. It's kind of like Muhammad Ali. The way he feels this is the future. And I think that's what I was drawn to him the most with that elements. We're no difference, only the skin colors, that kind of very liberal and free thinking, right? The way he made martial art movies was also impactful and influence in all my films. If you look at all my films, the tempo, the certain details, still have a lot of Bruce Lee shadows in it, right? So, but of course, at that time, when I was young, watching Bruce Lee film, I never thought of how can an Asian person be a lead in American movies and English-speaking movies, right? I'm glad it finally is here, but it took a while. It took a lot of people like Bruce to really kick down doors and making that kind of difference. Pave the way for someone like me who can have that kind of opportunities to really express myself. Hero.
秦共7大高手。
跟你多日，拿你归案，亮出银枪，验明正身。
Now, Hero is another crazy experience as well. I reunited with Jet Li, and I went to mainland China, one of the set that they built, a courtyard of a temple. We spent 21 days shooting just two of us fighting. 21 days. Sometimes for Hollywood producers, they wouldn't understand why do you take so many days to shoot action scenes because I shot a couple of American films where everything's we have shot lists and everything's on schedule. Oh, finish the scene in 2 days or 3 days, getting the pieces, getting the coverage. But that's not how we shoot action over here. We shoot action by each shot and getting that shot to specific lighting, camera angles, choreography to the precisions to the teeth. So we spent 21 days, sometimes 3-4 shots a day. Everything was going smooth. We united. We both wanted top Once Upon a Time part 2. That scene became a classic. So 10 years later, we want to do another classic. So both of us, each shot, we look back, the playback, and look at each shot and said, wait a minute, that your fingers is a little bit to the left. That's not precise enough. Or your eyes, you're not looking at me. So we're both kind of going back and forth trying to make the best piece of art, right? For each shot. But I remember there was another choreography where he was also wired up with a sword. Now, although these are prop swords, but they are still quite pointy. This whole shot was one take, about 50 moves or something. So at the end of the 50 moves, maybe the 48th, 49 moves, he strikes down with his sword. He went boop, and I back up. Jet said, Donnie, there's blood spilling out of your face. I said, really? Let me take a look. He whacked me on one side. And 10 years later, he whacked me on the other side. I started laughing. I said, this is gonna be great. This movie is gonna make so much money. Because the last time we did this, it was a huge box success. So, you see in red, because in Chinese, red bag during Chinese New Year, we give each other red bag. So when you see blood, it's like, this is gonna be a successful film. 6 stitches, again, 2 times. Both sides close to my eyeballs. I could have been blind. Wing Chun. Let me begin with my mother being a pioneer, especially during the 1970s. She opened a martial arts school in Boston. As a new immigrant at the time, she was able to break through barriers of teaching all walks of different race and culture. So that made a lot of impact on me to understanding the whole woman empowering, especially back in the days, in more of a male predominant type of a world. My mother is like 4'8" or 4'10", little woman. She has hundreds of students like 6'5", following her and respecting her and bowing down to her. So, that gave me a different perspective. So working with Michelle, that movie was about a female lead in a martial art movie, which had happened before, but it's not often. I was the supporting actor and just let her do her job and let her shine. I thought of the fire scene, so I didn't have any CGI. There was no CGI scenes. In fact, there was no CGI at all. And there was not really a safety team or whatsoever. I said, how do I light up the fire? I really lit up the fire. I used these kind of, put some gasoline in there. I remember there was a funny part where I would lit up the whole fire and set up the shots and the fire would go out. So I have to call the people on the set and say, oh, that went off, pour some gasoline in it, burn up that fire. It isn't like what's today. There's a pipeline. There's all types of modern technology where you can just turn up the buttons and the fire goes up, or you do it in post with CGI fire. Back in the old days, we just have to do whatever. Like if you want to crash that window, you crash the rear window. You jump off the building, you jump off the building. So the same with these fire props that I was doing. Literally pour some gasoline and lit up that fire. XXX, Return of Xander Cage. I became pretty cool with the director, and he understood my background. I remember there was a scene where I was fighting a bunch of henchmen inside an airplane. And I came up with different choreographies to work with that camera angle without telling them. So a lot of these choreographies that I did was working with where they placed the camera. Imagine the camera's over there. Oh, and I would look at the cinematographer or the cameraman and say, oh, what's the size of the camera, the lenses, right? And I look at the monitor. Oh, he's gonna have a medium shot or whatever, different lenses. Oh, okay, I know how you're gonna want to shoot this space. Do you want me to do this? Maybe it's better like this. Maybe like this. I'll say, oh, that's pretty cool. So I start changing all this stuff around. And after that scene, and I told DJ, the director, I said, DJ, listen, how about give me the footage, let me edit this stuff overnight, and I'll give it to you tomorrow. If you don't like it, throw it away. You're the director, with all due respect. So I went back, used the computer, put all the shots together, and show him my vision. I said, this is how I'm gonna fight. Like the tempo. It's like music, right? A couple of bars here and then, put it together and hey, do you like it? And he loved it. And what you saw on the plane, I edited that scene. Sakra?
情仇难却，恩怨纷争，是国之宿命。
I wanted to make a movie that appeals to the whole world, where even if you don't understand any culture of Chinese martial art novels or Jin Yong's particular, you will still appreciate this movie. So I came up with the story and then start bringing these pieces together. Like, how am I going to do something that is different from what's done in the past? From wardrobes, again, music, and comes down to the action. Now, this can easily be over the top, where what's going on, no one can understand, why is this guy flying around in the air and he doesn't come down to the ground, And then I came up with this concept of, what is the most successful franchise of these type of films, right? Marvel's movies, right? X-Men's movies, right? We believe in that world. Why do we believe in that? What are the successful elements? So I use that as a study case to, okay, I understand. So basically, this is my version of the Chinese Marvels. But of course, I don't have that kind of budget, it's under a very tight budget. I didn't have any money at all. I just thought that with my experience and my team was so strong, Hong Kong Film Award winners, they're all like acclaimed cinematographer, editor, wardrobes and art directions. So my whole entire cast, from actors to behind the camera, the crew, they were really supportive. They really believe in my vision. They said, Donnie, we trust you, we believe you, we want to go on a journey with you. Even everybody's getting a cut. No one is getting paid that much, honestly. But we enjoyed it. Everybody were in a ride together with me and wanted to make a difference. We wanted to make something special for the world. couple elements is really important in my movies. Number one, I say positive energy. It's very important in my movies. I don't like to make movies where if there's a role that is offered to me or a project is offered to me and it's against my morals, my principle of how I want to live my life, I don't care how much money they give me, I don't want to do it. My movie has to contain some core values as a human being, righteousness, family, love. That is really important for me. And also a very commercial movies. I like my movies to be entertaining because at the end of the day, what are we making this for? For yourself or for the mass? And what I like to do is make movies for everybody.